I recently did a video showing the dangers of a rushed vaccine, and I looked at the disastrous deployment of a polio vaccine in the US in the 50s. I tried to make the point that circumstances were similar to today, but I did get some feedback about how things were different back then and how it could never happen today. You reckon? Well, if the 50s was too far back, how about 2009? Is that modern enough for you? Many of the same doctors, same regulatory officials and researchers will be doing the same jobs they were doing in 2009. So this is a warning from a very recent history, and by God, it's a nearly identical playbook. In 2009, the world faced a pandemic. WHO declared that H1N1 influenza was a pandemic, and new vaccines were being rolled out across the world. It was like that in the UK. Major official bodies like the Department of Health, the BMA and the Royal College of General Practitioners were all saying, it's fine, but a reluctant NHS workforce wasn't buying it. We fully support the swine flu vaccination programme, declared the three organisations in a joint statement. The vaccine has been thoroughly tested. Except it hadn't. Governments around the world thought there'd be a severe influenza pandemic, so they made various logistical and legal arrangements to shorten the time between recognising the pandemic virus and producing a vaccine and giving it to the population. The licensing process was rushed, and the manufacturers were given legal indemnity from liability for any vaccine injury. So you see, we can definitely trust big government, big pharma and the regulatory agencies. And guess who popped up in October 2009? The US National Institute of Health and Infectious Diseases chief, Anthony Fauci. He appeared on YouTube to reassure Americans about the safety of the swine flu vaccine. The track record for serious adverse events is very good. It's very, very, very rare you ever see anything that's associated with a vaccine that's a serious event, he said. Of course, the vaccine wasn't safe. People developed narcolepsy, cataplexy, which is a sudden, uncontrollable loss of muscle tone that can cause collapse without warning. With this syndrome, you can no longer work or drive. There are many cases of autoimmune disorders. See link 2 below. Nationwide vaccine started in the UK in October 2009, despite the fact that experts from the Department of Health had known since May that the flu was much milder than first thought. On October 22nd, ministers agreed to revise down the worst case scenarios from 19,000 deaths to 1,000 deaths. In fact, only 138 people died. So let's look at the similarities. H1N1 was going to kill 7.5 million people worldwide. It killed 14,000. Billions of pounds were wasted. Sure glad we've learned those lessons, eh? The vaccine was horribly rushed, just like today. Politicians assured everything would be fine, just like today. Big Pharma was granted legal liability, just like today. There are some things which are different, however. Back then, they relied on arguments from authority. Now it's compulsion. Have the vaccine or don't fly. Have the vaccine or don't get a ticket for your favourite sports event. And you know that's not the end of it. In New Zealand, they have the hopelessly flawed PCR tests, which you have to have or go to a concentration camp. And of course, in 2009, the vaccine didn't try and rewrite your DNA. But don't worry, you can trust the government, the Department of Health, Big Pharma and all the talking heads on the media. They don't have a track record of exactly this type of disaster, and they never lie to us. If you like this, please like, recommend and subscribe.